We all love training camp battles, don't we? But sometimes the training camp battles are not for starting roles, but the ones that we really care about are those of players that are going to war to see who is going to be playing on Sundays. Well, tonight we will dive into 3 Cowboys starting battles that are going to take place in training camp when everything kicks off. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. What is up, everyone, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Prime Time. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, and tonight, as I said, we're diving into 3 positions that could be very interesting for Dallas because you could argue there are roster battles in each position that you look at, right? Quarterback, Trey Lance is fighting Cooper Rush. Running back, there's a fight with multiple characters going on for running back 3. Tight end, who knows who's going to be tight end 4. And you could go, look at different positions and you can find more and more examples. But there are only a few where the starting role is at stake, in my opinion. And those are the exciting ones, man. Those are the ones that are the reason why we are obsessing on Twitter, scrolling up over and over and again, just to try to find a new practice clip that sometimes we don't even have the context to, but we are ready to take all sorts of conclusions away from it. So I thought that it would be a good idea for us to go over these 3 positions that have an ongoing battle for the starting role. And there might actually be one more, right? We could be talking about 4 starting spots that are up for grabs right now for anybody on the Cowboys team, but we're going to focus on 3 for the most part. And speaking of 3, we're going to start off with the number 3 wide receiver slot. And that's because we did not expect this to be the premier battle of training camp. And it's starting to feel that way because Jaylen Tolbert does not have the job guaranteed. Plain and simple. We haven't been in voluntary workouts. We haven't been at minicamp. But those who have been, the insiders, have let us know. And this has been coming from multiple people that, hey, there's a battle going on at wide receiver 3, right? Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan tweeted out, hey, right now, I think Jalen Brooks would be my number 3. That's what Bobby tweeted out. So Jalen Brooks is the guy that could fight Tolbert for this particular role. Now, it's interesting because they are somewhat of they're different type of wide receivers, but both have played on the outside a whole lot, particularly in college. But Tolbert is a little bit smaller, or at least he plays that way, while Jalen Brooks was drafted by the Cowboys in the 7th round last year because of that size, because of that speed, and what he could be turned into. So for Brooks to have a strong year 2, it's all about refining his craft. But the physical traits, he already has them. He already has the ability to go out there and gain and earn that job on the outside. And Tolbert has been focusing on learning more like how to be this versatile wide receiver, and that is a huge advantage for him, in my opinion. But this becomes an exciting battle because we just don't know enough about them. We know very little about Brooks, other than the fact that he's turning heads at practice. And this is key, that he had a strong training camp last year. So he has something to build on. The Cowboys have already seen something from him because he was not guaranteed that roster spot as a rookie because he was a 7th rounder and they had a bunch of undrafted wide receivers that he beat out. So now you go into 2024 and he has something to build on top of a somewhat impressive rookie season. And I use the word somewhat just because, well, he didn't do much on offense, right? Now, Tolbert, on the other hand, has more experience, has way more playing time, but only 24 catches in his career. It's not much. And I think this becomes a conversation surrounding 2 topics. Number 1, who is the better player? Because ideally, I'm fully convinced that you would want one of these 2 players to really step up and make the decision easy for you instead of you wanting to find a way to incorporate both of their skill sets into the playing field. I think ideally, you want the players to make that decision for you. You want Jaylen Tolbert to be good enough to you, so you can get in a position where, okay, I've got a great number 4, but my number 3 is firmly set in stone. That being said, though, the Cowboys do like to play CeeDee Lamb everywhere on the field. They like to put him on the slot. They like to put him out wide. Sometimes he's the isolated receiver. Sometimes he's over here. They're doing everything with him. So could there be a situation where the Cowboys have a wide receiver 3 by committee whenever they need a slot, because CeeDee is playing outside, Tolbert, you're in. And of course, cannot be that easy because you don't want to be predictable. You don't want to give up what you're doing as soon as you're in the huddle and the defense is looking at who is on the field, right? But maybe most of the time when Brooks is in, that's because CeeDee is going to work this slot, right? I'm very intrigued as to how the Cowboys will play this out. And part of the mystique behind this is really what is their plan with Jaylen Tolbert? Because as I said, he might look small, but he also has played a lot of football on the outside. He did so at college. And for example, last year, and this is just so I can basically confirm this, last year he played 40% of the time, 37% of the time in the slot, and 63% out wide. So the Cowboys see him as somebody that can line up on the outside and not only on the inside. But I'm intrigued to see how they will make this work. It's going to be fun, but I do believe CeeDee's usage is also going to play a factor into this fight. But this is the battle of training camp. Now, another one is linebacker. And I'm excited about linebacker 1 as well. Because to me, it comes down to 2 guys. Now, Eric Kendricks firmly said he is the Mike. He is the guy who knows Mike Zimmer's defense. No one is going to sit Eric Kendricks other than maybe an injury, which, knock on wood, of course, we don't want that to happen. But Eric Kendricks, I see as a firmly set starter. Now, you can talk all you want about the Cowboys running more of a 4-3 and having 3 linebackers on the field. Chances are you're going to be on nickel most of the time because offenses are going to force you to be on nickel most of the time. So when you're on nickel, you're basically playing a 4-2-5, right? Where you're going to have 2 linebackers in the second level, and that's it. Who is the second guy is what intrigues me. Marist Liufau, listen, I'm excited about it. He might be the guy of the future for Dallas. I'm not counting on him as a starter in 2024. I don't think it would be fair even. Now, could it be Damon Clark, who was the starter last year and who Scott McCurley, the Cowboys linebacker coach, recently praised because he was playing multiple positions and he's become this versatile guy with some level of experience playing Mike, playing Sam, playing Will, and the Cowboys like that, right? They like that Clark has a very deep understanding now about how you play linebacker in the NFL, and he might be the front runner for the job just because it already belonged to him in 2023. The problem is the Marvin Overshown is coming to town, and he's back from injury, and he's not going to make it easy on Clark. Because Overshown, you perceive as this super athlete, rangy, fast, that might be a playmaker and was making plays in the preseason and in training camp, but he has 0 doubts of regular season football experience, so he needs to earn it. I'm not saying he's a long shot. I'm not saying he's an underdog. Nothing like that. He's a third rounder after all, but he has to earn it. He has to beat out Damon Clark in the summer. So will he do it? I'm excited about that, man. I think that with Overshown, there's a little bit more upside. I think that by now we kind of know what Damon Clark brings to the table. And, you know, he's not been here for that long, so it's kind of weird to say that. But with Overshown, it's exciting to think that, hey, we're about to just see him take over. And he was so exciting in the preseason and in training camp. So we'll see how that plays out, man. Overshown just moves fast. Now, another starting spot that is up for grabs, and this is perhaps one of the other premier showdowns that you're going to have in Dallas, or in Oxnard, to be more specific, is a center spot. Because I don't think it's a given that Cooper Beebe gets it. I think he's gonna. That's my prediction. I think ultimately Cooper Beebe shows up week 1 and he blocks for Dak Prescott and he snaps the football to Dak Prescott. The Cowboys seem to like Brock Hoffman, right? We've heard several insiders, including Brian Broaddus, for example, say that, hey, they really like Hoffman. In the press conference pre-draft, Stephen Jones said, hey, whoever comes in is going to have to be ready to fight Brock Hoffman. They didn't say that about any of the left tackles because we knew there wasn't anybody out there that could fight for the left tackle role. If the Cowboys had drafted, say, Jackson Powers Johnson, maybe they would have brought up, hey, whoever is going to play at a guard while we push Tyler Smith to tackle is going to have to fight TJ Voss, right? Because that's how they feel about those guys. Cooper Beebe versus Brock Hoffman is going to be fun. I think Beebe is evidently the guy with the most upside because he has that play strength, that violence, that nastiness to his game. But Hoffman was pretty solid. Hoffman was solid when he was asked to start for Dallas early in the season in 2023. So how does that play out? Also going to be interesting. And man, one last one before we leave tonight. Last starting job that seems to be up for grabs, but it's also kind of like a different conversation. I would say running back. They're going to do the committee thing. Don't think they're going to have a workhorse because that's not going to happen. It's going to be a committee where the top two guys are going to have something like 40 and 40% of the snaps or 50 and 50, something like that. And it's going to come down to Zeke and it's going to come down to Rico. I think Rico is the guy as long as he's healthy. The guy to lead the committee, which would make him the starter, but also it would be more of a 50-50 thing going on. Rico needs to prove he can stay healthy, and if he does, I have him beating out Ezekiel Elliott to be the guy that spearheads the unit. But also, there's something about Zeke, man, that, hey, could he mess around and look better? Could he mess around and bring that explosiveness back to his game? We don't know. You never know. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The starting roles that are up for grabs going into the 2024 training camp. Let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to win one of these big roster battles? Let me know what you think. If I missed a position, let me know in the comments as well. And I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.